Hello.
It's Halloween. Welcome to Mystic and the Machine.
It is Halloween, so we've gone with the orange lighting today.
I don't know if it was a great choice. I'm feeling pumpkin-esque.
It all looks more orange now than usual with my glasses.
Yeah. I feel like your glasses are also casting even more of like an orange glare on everything.
They're beige glasses. They have to stay.
They make you feel based.
They do. It's the energy that things give you sometimes.
Why have you been so obsessed with getting these specific glasses for about 2 years?
What, like black rimmed coloured aviators?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just had like a bit of an autistic obsession with them. I'm not sure where it's come from. Normally my autistic obsessions do come from a specific piece of media or something I've watched.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to place that. And
is there a certain
I
vibe
can't.
that you're trying to curate?
Not really. It's just more
Explain
like
it.
I'm getting into playing cards of various kinds, and it feels like these are good card playing glasses. And
my God.
Usually when you go to these card playing places, they have like lights that go down to the table, but they're very bright. And they're very glaring.
But
So
why,
I thought,
though?
It's a bit edgy for my eyes.
Why do they have detective lights? Like
So that you can see properly. You can see exactly what's going on.
so that you can intimidate your
I
opponent?
understand it. But at the same time, it's also just like, boys, this light's just fucking powerful. And like, I need something just to soften the blow a little bit.
Well, since we're in the Halloween spirit, I don't know. We're Mystic in the Machine. We're always weird. I feel like everyone always uses Halloween as an excuse to like be weird and
Be
like,
extra weird.
Yeah, and mystical. But I don't need that because I'm like
You're extra weird.
I'm extra weird
24/7.
24/7 all year round. Not like other girls. So I bought some of my spooky artifacts to show you this episode.
Spooky artifacts.
Yeah.
Do show.
So
a
this
show
is
and
my
tell episode of
a show and tell.
Mystic and the Machine.
Yeah. So this is my very first book of shadows. Am I not edgy?
Book of Shadows.
Yeah, my very first book of shadows.
Your book of spells and witchcraft.
Yeah, that I made myself by hand.
Cute.
And I use this. It's like tarot
Was it
paper cover.
Was it like a
thingy.
I
It's
feel
like
like-
all the different tarot cards of the major arcana.
I feel like it was wrapping paper.
Yeah,
that
it was
we-
wrapping paper that I repurposed and then like rebound to make this like weird little book thing. And this is like a little amulet that you gave me, like a Scottish amulet of a bird that I glued to it. And then inside, I don't even remember what I've written inside. It's like probably, I don't know, edgy bullshit. Who knows? Oh, there's Enochian alphabet. There's some Enochian alphabet. There's some sigils. There's all kinds of
You
silly
can't show the
shit. I've got the
sigils.
Tree of Life.
That's
I can't. I'm not supposed to show the sigils.
That'll break your spells.
None of these spells are useful. They're probably like very BPD and like weird. This is what I made in my early 20s. So
This is how you manifest.
yes, this is how I manifest. Hang on. Yeah, there was like some Enochian alphabet shit in here, but I don't know where it is. Yeah, here it is. I tried to to write the Enochian alphabet so that I could have it on hand. It's not like I was even using it for anything.
Just to have it on hand.
I just thought it looked cool.
Just
so I
to
was
just
like,
to
fuck
talk
it.
with the angels whenever they like decide
Just
to.
whenever I feel like it, just like to have the
when you want
angels
to do a
on
deep
speed
scrying
dial.
session and talk with beings from another realm.
Speaking of deep scrying sessions and beings from other realms, here is my crystal ball. Her name is Persephone. I haven't. That's the
Persephone.
most like lame goth thing I've ever said in my life. I'm like, her name is Persephone.
This is my crystal ball. Her name is Persephone.
Yeah.
You're going there.
I'm going there.
We need to get you a booth in LA,
I would love that.
like a little bungalow somewhere.
if anyone knows, anyone who has an extra booth in LA,
I feel like that's the exact kind of energy.
please hit me up.
That you would match with, especially with the crystal ball.
I just like what I like. I feel annoyed by the fact that like the whole witch talk blah 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 shit has been a vibe. I've been collecting shinies since I was a child and like doing weird like consciousness bending shit since I was like since ever since I could ask the question like what am I, I've been like doing weird shit. So it's not like a aesthetic to me, which is the thing. And like I don't know, I'm like actually in it. But it's difficult when you're trying to kind of, I guess, find community and people around the spooky and the weird and the spiritual, because you never know who's just in it for the aesthetic and who's like,
and to grift as well.
yeah,
make money and
yeah,
stuff,
exactly,
'cause,
that
like,
too. One of the things that annoys me around Halloween is when all my normie friends are like, can you give me a tarot reading? Like, give me a tarot reading. It's like, it's not a parlor trick. Do you want me to delve into the depths of your unconscious? Like, for fuck's sake, like, that's what it's for. Like,
yeah.
fuck's sake. But yeah, like, finding community around it is something that I would love to do, but that is difficult increasingly, especially online. Jesus Christ, like, it's like the home of crazy shit.
Well, speaking of crazy shit and people kind of maybe feeling a bit not able to make friends and community and such,
Oh yeah.
I found a case of pretty extreme violence.
Well, let's set the scene.
Okay.
So this, leading up to Halloween, things have been pretty insane. I think there was an eclipse. There's been a full fucking moon.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's been going a bit crazy. There was a mass shooting as well. That was like the thing that I think kicked off the week. And I think one of the worst ones in American history as well.
Aren't they all?
Well, that's every
That's
single
like-
time one of these things happens, like, that's what is said. But, you know, I don't know, man. And it kind of has been memory hold. People haven't really been talking about it. It's just sort of like, oh yeah, whatever, another day.
Because there's
One thing,
so much going on.
yeah. And one thing I've noticed is like the major theme of this like very haunted bad time in the collective unconscious is violence. It's been a particularly violent couple of weeks. And I've seen a lot more violent imagery and seen a lot more violent rhetoric than I think I ever have in my life. And like maybe 9/11 maybe was probably a time where it was equivalent, but I was a baby. So
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I guess I was playing Pokemon at that time of my
so
life
you've
as well.
regressed. So
And now-
that's the thing. I've been trying to find the key to Jake's Pokemon obsession. I've been like remotely psychoanalyzing him. I'm like, what is this?
And now I'm
This is
playing
it.
Pokemon again.
Because there's
Here we are.
9/11 vibes around. You've regressed, and
Here we
you're
are.
like, it's like an infantile,
At the end of the world.
self-pacifying coping mechanism.
At the end of the world playing Pokemon. I don't know kind of what's so wrong with that.
Jake's like, gotta catch it, and that's what the vibe is about. You're trying to do an adult Ash Ketchum.
Ash Ketchum, adult Ash Ketchum.
I think that's what
You
you're
think
trying to
that's it
do.
with the- I
I
don't
think
know.
you're on an arc. You're an arc of your own hero's journey at
anybody
the
that
moment,
can-
and I shouldn't interrupt it.
Anybody that can recognise any of the symbols or things that are on my shirt, like Bosch. Oh, that's all in reverse, so you're not going to be able to read that anyway. But it's an audio nerd fucking outfit.
How do you know Ash wouldn't have been an audio tech guy?
Because he's not, is he? He's a
wouldn't have grown up.
Pokemon fucking...
Yeah, but he would have outgrown the Pokemon.
Like, Sunshine Boy.
He would have outgrown the Pokemon.
My
And he'd have
outfit
been
is
like,
like
the real.
Dark Ash Ketchum. If he was actually like a fucking drum and bass producer.
Dark Academia Ash Ketchum.
Yeah, Dark Academia Ash Ketchum.
But yeah, maybe that's the key to it, is the fact that you've regressed, because it's giving 9/11 vibes at the moment, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna play Pokemon because that's gonna like help me feel.
Not really.
less-
It's just like I feel like Liquid Drum and Bass and Nintendo games are a vibe.
I don't know why.
I
I've been
feel like
I've been
people
coming
should,
home from work every day, and Jake's just been Jake's just
me
been
too.
there. Sorry, I dropped something. Jake's just been there, like literally because we've got these like colored light thingies,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like got the fucking disco lights on, and he's listening to like Liquid Drum and Bass, and just there like playing Pokemon like no other, just in bliss.
Yeah.
And I feel like
And then you come home, oh my god, did you hear about this thing with Israel Palestine? I'm just like, no, dude, I caught a fucking shiny today. Like I'm super chuffed with myself.
that's how Jake is dealing with the end of the world. I think maybe the rest of us should take a note out of his book.
I think so. Like, is it really like how much is it? Like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's sort of just like, how much is it
I dropped my
disturbing?
phone, sorry.
Like, your day-to-day life.
Well, I mean, it is.
You
I mean,
know?
I can't get anywhere. I can't get anywhere now.
If you
without
work
there
around
being-
Westminster, maybe that's gonna like disrupt your tube journey or like your commute into work. But like, I mean, like, what in your day-to-day life, all of the horrible things that are happening. what difference does it make to it?
I mean, I don't blame people for dissociating because it's fucking heavy shit.
It is as well. It's terrible things.
And on top of that, there's no way.
But also
there's no meaningful way.
It's so remote to your life. That's my point.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What is the
But the thing is, it's not. The thing is that it's not remote anymore.
Absolving all of this like horrible things.
Well, that's the thing.
Happening.
It's not remote anymore. It's spilled over into the West in terms of it being filtered through the culture war. And also, you know, I think what I think is at the crux of this whole thing is like the changing of demography. Like, you know, maybe 50 years ago, support for Israel would have been like a given in like most demographics in the West. But now there's been like a shift in the demographics in the West.
But why? Why would there be why?
Because of religion and also, you know, traditional values and all of that stuff. With the decline of a lot of that, especially among young people and also people from from like Muslim countries and all sorts of things now being a big population of the West, that support for Israel isn't necessarily guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it's spilled over into the culture war here. And it's gotten so ugly. So even though it's horrible and we're bombarded with all these horrible images, and all of us, obviously, it pangs on our humanitarian impulses and everything. You can't even make meaningful community around that or have meaningful conversation around it because everybody's at each other's fucking throats. Like,
but what is meaningful conversation?
Well, I don't know. A horrible thing is happening in the world that, like, you know, our countries have a hand in. I think that there are meaningful conversations that could be had around that.
I think, like,
plenty of
a meaningful conversation is like something that's going to generate something out of it. No? Mm-hmm. So, like,
or not, even if it's not something tangible, even if it's just like a further understanding.
Maybe I don't think most people are
of
kind of
people's
like,
positions, so that you don't. Because what's happening now is people are responding to this by being like, "I'm going to hate my neighbors, I'm going to hate my friends, I'm going to hate my family," and somehow that's going to make the world a better place.
That is a mind virus that we are
dissect
a little
pretty
bit,
in a bit
but it's sort of,
but to get back to our beginning topic, violence is one of the major themes currently. It's giving Purge vibes.
It is, and this
to keep in keeping with our Halloween theme, it's giving Purge vibes at the moment.
This little story definitely gave me Purge vibes.
Yeah.
11-year-old stabbed at a Dollar Tree after calling a man an NPC. And like that, just I felt that headline is fucking brutal in itself, but the story is fucking just as random as it sounds.
I mean, the headline is surreal in a way. Like,
it is surreal, but then like the events are equally just like as stupid and nonsense.
So what are the events?
The events is essentially that like a kid called a 29-year-old dude an
so
NPC.
You're someone who's your age.
Yeah, our age, like outside of a dollar store.
Yeah.
He called him an NPC.
Yeah.
And so he chased him into the dollar store after brandishing a knife and just fucking stabbed him a bunch of times.
Oh my God.
A small child.
Oh my God.
And so the lesson here, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson here is don't fuck with people. If you fuck around, you will find out. And you know, don't like, you know, just don't fuck around with strangers. Don't fucking like say stuff.
But not even just that. Shit's so aggy, and the mind virus has gotten so crazy
just fucking
that like
keep
we're
yourself.
in Clockwork Orange energy at the moment, where there's like youth running around doing ultra violence.
If that was like in Croydon or something, someone would have just like dashed acid in your face.
Yeah, dude. Like, and also, yeah, that's what
you're
that's
an NPC. Fuck you.
But even
Straight in
then, that's obviously like a major thing online. And one of the places I've seen the NPC trope flourish is in the spiritual community, especially in these like weird neo-Gnostic like niche places. The idea that there are certain people who are NPCs.
You haven't downloaded the program, so you're like still trapped.
Yeah, that's like normal. It's normal, and they talk about that normally, and it's like they just sort of casually dehumanize large swaths of the population. But this isn't like unique to these like weird niche communities. This seems to be everywhere online now, and in any form of discourse
Yeah.
surrounding any given topic, it's like this zero-sum game, us versus them mentality. I'm the main character, I'm the savior of the world, and anyone who might have any kind of disagreement with me is like literally socially ostracized. Like, it's so fucked up.
I know someone like got stabbed and was really serious. Like, a kid got stabbed and was really severely injured, and I shouldn't like make any further jokes about this incident.
But you're gonna.
But it's like enemies can hear you. Like that's the kind of meme, right?
What do you mean?
Like there's a meme within gamers of like enemies can open doors, and so that like they become more terrifying. And this kid called this person an NPC, and then he heard him and fucking chased after him and fucking knifed him down. This, you know.
So to you, the moral of the story is like
enemies can hear you, bro. It's like if you're playing the game, like enemies can hear you. They can open doors. Like just keep to yourself and fucking, you know.
I think to me, I don't know. The only thing I can think of to explain it is that it was like an over.
Yeah, it's like a
response to being dehumanized.
It's like a video game response in real life.
Is that your video game response?
Is that yeah, absolutely. That's a GTA response. You like someone
calls you.
It's like literally walking down the street in GTA. Someone goes, "Hey, sucker," and then you just turn around and fucking knife them.
Yeah.
Like that is literally like a video game response,
but in real life.
But it's bleeding through. It's like kind of more into like what you were saying, like all that kind of mentality and the kind of behavioral patterns that people formulate like online. Like end up like bleeding through into the real world,
into the social domain, like, specifically into the interpersonal
for people that
domain.
Are obviously specifically like probably going through some stuff in their own right and probably like mentally ill and whatever.
But that's like a lot of people.
Because
it's like it's hard to stay sane in this society.
It is.
It really is.
It is. What did Bobby Bob say? Robert Anton Wilson said, "If
I love how you've taken to calling him Bobby Bob."
He said that. When the world starts to feel and look more and more like a prison, the only sane thing to do is a jailbreak.
Yeah, you gotta have your Gnostic awakening, man.
That's exactly it. You gotta take the fucking mushrooms and and blast off.
Does this make us the Morpheuses? The Orpheuses.
Something like that. There was we'll call this segment what's really grinding my gears. And
well, speaking of more dystopian developments,
I guess we can put it that way as well, because it is a dystopian development. I think
Jake has to dedicate 5 minutes of the podcast to a rant. A new dystopian development in the UK this week.
Well,
which is just an absurd place.
They've basically proposed this idea to fucking keep raising the smoking age, or legal smoking age. So that essentially, if you were born in, I think, like 2001 or something like this, you'll never legally be able to smoke because the fucking age will just keep going up and up and up and up and up. Mm-hmm. And I think this is fucking crazy authoritarian bullshit. And where is it going to stop? What other kind of basic human actions are they going to prevent you from doing next?
Jake's like, I'm sick of this fucking nanny state bullshit.
They're going to stop you from drinking tea. They're going to stop you from drinking coffee because it's got caffeine in it that fucking is bad for your liver and all these other bad things.
Well, I think that the whole health and safety thing is being leaned into the more ineffectual governments actually become. It's the same thing with all the environmental policy stuff as well. Like, you know, a lot of it is just sort of a cover for their general ineffectiveness and their failures, really.
I would say that actually...
look, we're doing something.
No, I would say that it's a symptom of anti-drug culture. And, like, that's why they're making fucking CBD and oil and all this other fucking shit to try and make you consume drugs, but, like, in a way that is acceptable within the fucking culture and stuff like this. Like, smoking is generally perceived as bad because it's bad for your health, and that then it's also associated with drugs as well. So that's why
I find that there's more stigma.
And drugs is generally bad because of the anti-fucking drugs culture, which is like kind of my point.
But I also feel like there's also a lot more stigma associated with smoking now. Like, I notice it when I'm out in public if I have a cigarette. there'll be people around me who like cough really conspicuously in my face, or like oh, there's like a baby, and I don't smoke in front of fucking babies, don't get me wrong, but it's like even if but even if there's like a baby like that's like, even like remotely around, it's like you get like daggers stared at you by people, and it didn't used to be that way in the UK.
Like, I'm not smoking in babies' faces.
No,
so I don't
it
know
didn't
what
used
you're
to be
talking
that way
about.
in the UK, but in America, I noticed it was that way. Like when I would smoke cigarettes there, I would get like people
they're proper
harassing
fucking
me
pissy
and
about
being
it in
like an
America.
asshole. It's like fuck off.
Doubly so in California.
And because in the UK we roll like, not everyone rolls our cigarettes, but it's like a thing that people do
that
here.
cheap people do.
Yeah, we roll our cigarettes. I'd be rolling a cigarette in the park in America, and people would be like, "Oh my god!" Like,
Put your drugs away.
and it's just a cigarette.
But my point is, like, so the anti-drugs culture is fucking nonsense and a way of essentially funneling money and consumer habits into specific things that are legal and have lobbyists and infrastructure and all this other fucking
Vapes.
bullshit around. Yeah, so fucking alcohol, vapes, all of this other stuff.
CBD.
Yeah, they don't want to fucking make everything fucking legal and tax stuff, even though it would make shitload of money. Why would there be? Because that would mean that there are new other players making shitloads of money, and not only that, but it would actually detract from the money that people are already spending on alcohol, because they would be then choosing other recreational drugs and all that other kind of stuff, right? So,
Well, I think people's drug of choice now is
Fucking-
also the dopamine that they get from the internet.
kind of.
I
but
think that,
drug
like-
of choice is like such that even is like no one has a drug of choice. That's my fucking point, because in culture you have to drink, and if you don't drink, you're considered a fucking druggie and a weirdo.
Yeah.
That's the basic fact of it. And
Yeah.
and smoking has been directly associated with that through this sort of slow easing out of like casual smoking tobacco. So now if you're smoking, it's like, why are you smoking still? Oh, because you probably smoke drugs, and that's why you still probably smoke cigarettes.
I think that might be your
No,
head
definitely
and
not.
your
This is definitely how
But yeah,
society
yeah.
fucking works. Okay?
All right, okay.
100%
Okay, all right.
Okay, and then and this, not only this, the fucking I was watching a really good video the other day that was talking about the death of like local music scenes and culture and stuff like this.
And part of what killed it was the smoking bans
And
as
a
well.
lot of what older people said, and I can't even relate to this because I'm not old enough to have known what
it was
nightlife
like, yeah.
culture was like before the
when you
smoking
could
ban.
have a fucking
The smoking
fag
ban
in the
came
club.
in when I turned 16, I think, which was actually also the time when they bumped up the age to legally smoke to 18. And I thought, I was like, oh great, I can legally smoke. And it was like, no, you can't, buddy, not for another 2 years. It was fucking bullshit. But anyway, that is the start of like breaking out the fucking phenomenology of a third place and being social and all
Yeah,
this kind of
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it
yeah.
breaks the rhythm of people fucking hanging out and stuff.
Because every time you're at a night out or whatever, you've got to go out in the cold to have a cigarette, and it just fucks everything up. And like it becomes this whole thing, and there's lines.
Yeah.
And the smoking area is always like fucking cramped. And then people are like, well, you should just quit smoking. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking quit smoking. Okay, like I plan on quitting before I turn 30.
I don't
like,
know. Have
whatever.
I think anybody that says why don't you quit smoking,
David
like,
Lynch
doesn't
smokes,
like
so he
doesn't
was
go
an
to
old man.
nightclubs and stuff. I can't imagine. Honestly, maybe I'm just that much of an addict, and it's just so much ingrained of part of my lifestyle that I literally
It's
cannot
because you
imagine.
work in the music industry, so you're like,
I cannot
have
imagine
bad
going
habits.
to a fucking nightclub and not smoking, because what am I going to do at a nightclub? On a good, well-behaved night, I'm going to only drink alcohol.
but that's the thing is we
And
have to.
even when I'm only drinking alcohol, what goes better with a fucking drinky than a smoky? Like, yeah, they go
And then
together.
another smoky, and
They go
another
together like fucking.
But even then, we
ham
do.
and-
I think
ham and cheese,
it's
dude.
part of trying to form like a third place for adults who want to be clean living. And I feel like eventually we are
No.
going to have to start clean.
It's trying to make
living.
everybody conform to this sober juice fucking LA coffee yoga fucking bullshit lifestyle. It is literally
But even-
trying to
but
make
even then,
that
it's also-
the conformed
Yeah,
lifestyle,
it's
and
like
not only
the-
that, but if you step outside of that, not even in a fun countercultural way of like, oh, you're this edgy other thing of like, oh no, you're probably quite gross and like a druggie or something,
Yeah.
which is maybe also how hippies were seen, but I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like with now, like it's not like necessarily countercultural. People take fucking drugs, like especially in London. Like London's like one of the cocaine capitals of the fucking world.
Yeah,
People fucking take drugs in the city, but it's like it's not something that's like socially done. It's like a dirty, nasty little secret or whatever.
Mate,
that's
let's
like
be honest.
ruining your life on the down low.
If you're on a work stew and it gets late enough to where your manager cracks out the coke,
I don't want to do fucking drugs
like,
with my fucking work people. Get away from me.
You know that night you got to go home or you got to like go fucking deeper in. And it really depends on the company you're with. Like for me, I could not go fucking deeper in with work people.
Yeah.
Most work people.
Yeah.
Very
Same.
select work people. Maybe so.
No, I could definitely not envision doing a wild night of cocaine with my colleagues. That doesn't sound like fun to me.
Who would be the worst night of cocaine to do with you? Like, what would be the worst blunt rotation, like, savage night for you? Like, guest of 3.
Like Grimes.
Grimes.
Probably. Ugh, gross. Oh God, on cocaine as well. Just like no.
Just a heavy night.
Just like
night.
Lisping and talking, just like at fucking 100 miles an hour about fucking cyborgs and bullshit. I feel like
you're
I
locked
would.
in with 3 other guests, with the worst guests. That you
Grimes
can
would
imagine.
definitely be on that list.
Grimes is on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. What is Elon Musk joining Grimes?
I think
on the
so.
list?
I think so. I think that would just be like
The
too
power
much
couple
autism.
together.
Yeah. Just like, oh God, no, please, no. And then the third person, I don't know. I don't really have grudges or people that I hate. And even if I don't like someone,
Not people,
hearing
people you hate, people that you'd think would be pleasant to do drugs around.
I don't know, any of those like leftist YouTube people, I think they would suck.
Like Hassan.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
He would be your third.
Yeah, one of
in
those.
the worst blunt
One of those
rotation.
people. Yeah. Oh God. Oh
That's
God.
a fair shout. That would be a pretty lame party, to be fair. I don't know. Grimes I feel like she would be quite wild at a party. I feel like, and Elon Musk has so much money that, like, you know, there's potential there for it
Jake
to
will
just
be
go
there
wild.
Jake will be like, tell me more about the cyborgs.
Yeah.
Elon, order like 500 orders of chicken wings or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, fucking.
It'd be great.
You'd be like, Hassan, find me the best hookers or whatever.
I feel like there's still potential for a good night there.
I mean, I don't know. It's not my kind of
Shall I give
night.
you my worst blunt rotation?
Go on.
Ben Shapiro.
He would have a heart attack if he did a line of coke.
Jordan Peterson.
Oh no, dude, that would not be fun
Because
at all.
he wouldn't even have a toke on the blunt. He would just be in the same room as someone smoking the blunt. Be like, oh my God, it's too much. I need to go back to Russia. Like, it's just like, it would just be too
bless
much.
his heart.
And then who would be the third worst?
I love how most of mine are like lefty
Pardon me.
coded,
Sorry.
except Elon, but all of yours are right coded.
Because they just seem like shitheads. Like, you
All
wouldn't
of
wanna
them
hang
on
out
all
with-
sides. Yeah,
yeah, all of them
they all
like
seem like
shitheads.
fucking dickheads.
I
Like,
do still think Grimes would be fun to party with. Even though she seems like a shithead, she seems like such a crazy girl that it feels like she would still be fun.
I would talk fashion and outfits and synthesizers. But if she started to like, because every time she opens her mouth now, she like does a bread tube video.
And talk
She's
about
like, the means of production could actually be like synthesized with the blockchain, and it could just be like really cool. And it's just like, ew, if I was on cocaine, like, I don't know, because cocaine makes me mad.
Is the secret to crypto. Maybe cocaine is the secret ingredient to crypto.
Cocaine makes me angry and
you
bitchy and like even angstier than I already am. So I don't think I could handle that.
You take a fat line of cocaine and the blockchain just like unlocks in front of your eyes. It's just like that's the secret.
I'm pretty sure that cocaine and like crypto fucking shit already goes hand in
Third
hand.
for me, okay, but a third for me actually. If we're talking, we want to do a bipartisan mix.
Yeah, go on.
Cenk Uygur would be my third
Oh,
worst.
gosh,
That would be
oh.
a terrible fucking. That would be such a bad. That'd be such a bad blunt rotation.
I think Cenk
Fucking
Uygur would
Cenk
like try to
Uygur.
fight you.
He would like. I
I
don't
think
know.
he would try to fight you. I think he'd get really mad and really vascular and like try to fight you.
I just don't even see like how he could chill out. He always just seems so like fucking aggy all the time.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the kind of theme of this episode in lots of ways.
Yeah.
It's just like
I've
aggy
seen
fucking
everybody.
people.
Fucking Anna Kasparian's veins are bulging even more.
Oh my God.
recently. Everybody on all sides, people are making threats. Cancel culture is like an all new fuck. And I didn't think it could get any crazier than it currently has. There are a couple of incidents I wanted to talk about. I guess one of which, let's put it up, is the fact that there was obviously the celebrity letter that everyone went crazy over.
Celebrity letter.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, is this the right one?
Hang on, no, I pulled up the tab.
Why is Windows giving me this? Because you probably pressed some buttons or something.
Sorry.
Right.
If I see a button, I must press it.
Okay.
Hang on, we should check the chat.
Celebrity letter.
Let's check
Israel.
the chat before we get into the meat of everything else.
Okie dokie.
You have a lot of things. Oh my goodness.
Orange tint and groovy background, late 70s, early 80s vibe.
Thank you. I'm glad that you're a vibe appreciator. We try with our limited resources.
Trying to imagine Angie as a 16-year-old weird girl, probably listening to some Susie and the Banshees. Lol.
16? Yeah. That was me when I was 16.
End times type of vibe. There you go. Everyone's getting it. Orpheus drinking a 40 in a death basket. Exactly. Smokers Army. Yes.
Yeah, we do need a smokers army. Join the fucking smokers army today, guys. Fucking do it.
It's just fucking bullshit. It really fucking frustrates me. And like, yeah, I could go on a long time. I could do a whole episode on anti-drug culture bullshit and some of the fucking
I could just like go and make a cup of tea, eat some mochi, and just let Jake run about anti-drug culture for 2 hours.
Everyone's just talking about how high they are in the chat. I'm glad you're all high.
I'm glad you're all really high.
I'm glad this has become like a little smoky hangout.
Great.
This is like fun.
That's wonderful.
That was like almost exactly what I wanted.
That's pretty much what we wanted this whole thing to be.
Hangout thingy to become, basically.
Well, anyway, back to the episode. Friggin', the letter. So basically, a bunch of celebrities.
Is this a good summation of this letter?
Yes. No, that's not the one. Go down.
Okay.
Scroll down. It's that one with the Bradley Cooper picture.
Just
click on that. So a bunch of celebrities signed a letter in support of Biden on the whole Israel thing.
Okay.
And obviously there's been a ton of outrage because people are like, my favorite celebrity is horrible and did a bad thing.
I mean, I do just want to point out,
I don't think a lot of them, I think there are probably some of them had a choice. So I'm sorry, I think some of them had a choice and they actually wanted to, and that was something they wanted to, but I think for a lot of them it was because they felt pressure.
Dude, one quarter of these pictures is a Mossad agent. So like, I don't know what point they're trying to fucking
Gal
prove here. Yeah, dude. Like, come on. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my god.
She's almost as bad as the fucking Ethot fucking extravaganza that's been going on the internet recently. Like,
but yeah, there's been all the hot, the sexy
classy version of that.
She's the classy, the sexy.
She's the Hollywood like prestige version of the fucking Israel army fucking Ethot recruits.
There was also the
so of course she's fucking there going, oh, of course I support whatever. The
also,
fuck
this week there was the James Dean Israeli army guy thirst traps on the internet, and I was like, damn, propaganda is getting pretty.
America's got their own one as well.
They have the e-girl, the military e-girl fucking thing going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. But basically there's been a ton of outrage over this. People are canceling each other left and right. So you have people on the pro-Palestinian side who are saying, I'll never talk to my friends and neighbors and family members again if they don't outwardly support Palestine, blah, blah, blah. And then on the other hand, you have people who are on the Israeli side and people who are on the Israeli side who have, power and stuff, who are saying anyone who is not outwardly pro-Israel, we won't work with you. You're dead to us. Like fucking Dave Chappelle, he stated his pro-Palestinian position at a stand-up thing he did, which is supposed to come out in a couple of days, I think, which will be interesting to talk about. And there was outrage in the crowd from like pro-Israeli people, and I don't know why they're surprised because he's like an open Muslim, as well. But yeah, there's just been this sort of vicious battle.
Yeah,
And like people, you never know who's
people's
actually.
Thanksgivings are going to be a lot.
Yeah, people's
a lot
Thanksgivings
more
and Christmases are going to be.
thin in the
Yeah,
numbers,
exactly.
You know, whittling them down
Yeah.
to really the real raw essentials. After you've already whittled them down through COVID,
Yeah.
and probably already then whittled them down through each successive like American election since 2016.
The emotionalism is so high too. That's the one thing I don't get is how people can be this emotionally riled up after 2016. That fatigued me.
No,
I have nothing left after that. Like after that whole period of time happened, that was the most emotional that I was like willing to ever get about anything that goes down.
I think I've sussed out the life cycle of these brainworms. You know,
what's your theory?
It's like through fucking Valis or whatever fucking crazy like third force phenomenon, like these brainworms occurred in the world, or maybe they're like a CIA experiment, or whatever the fuck knows, invaded human consciousness and our brains in 2016 with the Trump election. And that you had the same consequences. You had the same consequences with the Trump shit. Where people were like, "You're voting for Trump. You're not coming to Thanksgiving. You're like, out of the family, basically. You're like, I'm never talking to you ever again." Fucking all of this stuff started with that. But the brainworm fucking dies after the attention dwindles for a little bit, and the brainworm then dies. But the brainworm, when it dies, lays an egg. And so it's just waiting for the next thing to trigger the egg to fucking hatch. And then fucking latches onto whatever fucking conclusion
I'm imagining
through whatever cultural or like, you know, proximity or milieu or whatever you're within and stuff.
I'm imagining like H.R. Giger imagery, like fucking Alien.
Yeah, literally.
But for the consciousness.
But exactly.
For the mind.
And it
like fucking latches on, like lays eggs in your fucking mind.
And then
like,
each time, as you say, each time it fucking dies and then like lays the egg and it comes back and fucking comes again, it does it even stronger and it gets like even stronger, and then someone will just become rabidly opinionated.
What I want to know is, how do we stop this process? Because we're already fucking lonely as shit and atomized as shit. And it's so fucking hard to make friends in a world where the current thing and your position on the current thing dictates your access to specific social milieus. And it's been very difficult for me because I code fucking hippie in it. Like I code like bohemian. What?
In it's not very hippie.
Oh, shut up. I code quite like hippie and like bohemian or whatever. And that sort of code's leftist. And a lot of the stuff I'm interested in, like mysticism, fucking art, literature, philosophy, blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff is sort of dominated by like left coded shit. But at the same time, like I don't agree with like the cultural fucking bullshit of the left. I tend to agree with a lot of the cultural criticisms that the right makes of the left, even though I don't consider myself to be right wing. But I also feel alienated culturally from the right. Like I'm not like a pearl wearing trad wife. That's just not my energy. It's not my fucking vibe at all. But because of this, it feels like it's impossible to find a place, because it seems like as this 2016 like alien egg mind virus has hatched and metastasized and made everyone crazy, your social milieu is really dictated upon your political coding and your aesthetic, everything, your choices. Even that's the reason why that fucking rich man of Richmond fucking bullshit was successful, even though it was a clear,
an authentic
Bayesian fucking psyop.
Did a song?
No, I don't think he was a fucking authentic dude who did a fucking authentic song. I think everyone has brainworms. I think 2016 really fucked everyone in the head, and I find it really tragic, obviously, because one of the major themes that I've sort of been obsessed with for the last year, and it's going to be explored in my next video, which I'm currently working on, but bear with me, guys. I'm also writing a book at the same time and working at a magazine, and everything's just, I have, like, my time is so fucking...
You're an overwhelmed little bear.
I am an overwhelmed little bear at the moment, which is a lot, but I'm working on this video. But yeah, anyway, loneliness is sort of a major theme that I've been exploring and, like, trying to unpick. And we're so lonely as, like, a civilization and as a culture, yet we're so quick to socially ostracize each other over like things that are remote to us, you know? And it's been interesting to see people trying to analyze this like Middle Eastern conflict through the lens of American culture war, especially in the UK, where we're not even fucking Americans.
It's just like alien all over.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that this is happening, and that horrible war, the violence that is now coming here. It's coming here to.
They always say like, "Oh, of course you're involved because you like Britain helped like found Israel or whatever." And it's like, well, why is America more invested in that shit than we are? Then, like, why does it feel like we are fairly nonchalant about it? For my entire life.
Well, also because like I said, that's one of the major concerns is like the demography change.
Amongst like in
London,
white people.
In London,
this has not been like a
exactly religion
hot button thing.
But that's because
this
religion has declined.
That's not a very nice topic. Let's avoid that one.
Religion has declined.
A nice answer there, is there?
That's what I'm saying. Religion has declined, especially in the UK. The UK is one of the most atheistic places. Because I remember when I was in America, I went to a Christian school, and they went on a mission trip to England, which I refused to go on because they were like, oh, you should come, Angie, since you're English. You could help us translate with the population. But by this time, I was going through my edgy atheist phase. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not going with you fucking weird Americans to my home country to help proselytize. But they were looking at the statistics of the religion in the UK. And we're one of the most atheistic countries in all of Europe. Like, no one here goes to church. Like, it's just not a thing here at all. No. So that's like number one. Number two, we also have like a high degree of immigrants, especially in London. I think one of the most common baby names in London is like Muhammad.
Yes. You made that. You were trying to wind my dad up at Christmas.
Yeah, I was trying to wind your dad up at Christmas with that factoid. I saw a little twinge.
It's a popular name. Maybe I'll think about that. And then my dad was getting very upset with me.
Your dad is like, this is why we voted for Brexit.
He didn't vote for Brexit. Yeah.
He likes European cheese too much. That's the thing, is your dad's gotten progressively more middle class. He's gotten a more bourgeois and like liberal, and now now he talks about mental health and stuff, despite the fact he's this like big gruff guy. It's like weird.
You sound like my granddad now.
Your granddad's always making fun of him for like being a lib or whatever. But yeah, what was I talking about before we went on a fucking tangent?
We started railing on my family.
But you brought your fucking dad up, didn't you? No. Say that he would be mad about the name Muhammad. That was it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the demography has changed. That was what I was saying, significantly. So less and less people actually give a shit about, like, you know, or they're not as animated about the state of Israel being a thing. And I think that that's kind of what's at the heart of the divide in the West and why it's sort of spilling over into the West. And then on top of that, so you have really horrible, racist, bad people on that side, you know, who are doing bad stuff. But then on the leftist side as well, one of the things I've noticed, which has been quite not great, despite the fact that obviously, like, I'm a pro two-state solution, ceasefire human being.
It's bad.
Huh?
You just say it's bad.
Well, yeah, it's bad. I'm sorry. It's bad. Like, what I've seen happening on the left that's, like, bad is the fact that, like, you know, people are, like, trying to be edgy and anti-Western by, like, not
supporting terrorists.
Not just that, like not questioning anything that has to do with like radical Islam. And I'm like, if you claim to be for liberal values in any fucking shape or form, that is something that you should be suspicious of and question.
Yeah.
And it shows that, like, because especially in a city like London, where multiculturalism has been the norm for so long because of like the empire and stuff, it is really tense right now. I haven't felt this much tension in a really long time. And it shows how there isn't like a shared sense of British identity, which is what I'm in favor of. I've never felt this like racialized tension in the city in such a long time, and it's freaking me out. And the thing about it is, it's like, you know, I'm in favor of a shared British identity, a shared sense of identity. I don't give a shit about your race, your culture, your religion. You're fucking British first, which is how it's supposed to fucking be. But it's not like that, and we can't pretend as if it's like that. There hasn't been any like progress in that direction, and times like this is when you really see that come to the forefront. And it is terrifying, because that's the way I feel, that's the way I've been able to live in my own life, but it's not like the reality of the country. It's incredibly like fucking polarized along racial lines,
Yeah.
which is pretty scary.
Well, it's also like I think like in the sort of digital internet age we live in, you're sort of funneled as well with information depending on your previous cookies and all this other
Your
stuff.
demography.
So it's almost kind of like a little bit predetermined, sort of like what it's heavily likely your opinion might be.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to be steered down this way or that way because of your previous watch history or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to receive this kind of information about this kind of event rather than this kind of information.
Yep.
So that's going to make you think this about something
Yeah.
initially rather than that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you'd need to be won over rather than... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever fucking side you'd perceive as the correct or best one or whatever the fuck, like...
Or whichever
So it's
whichever
just
thought
like
leader is charismatic enough
it's
to
sort
have
of the
gotten you,
it's
or
just sort of the algorithmic funneling
Yeah.
of people into opinions.
or
and-
whichever ethought has like a
Got to them
thirst
first.
trapped you first or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the Israeli soldiers. I'm not gonna lie. They all were smoking cigarettes as well.
They got thick butts. That's what I've seen.
It's because they've been doing glute exercises.
They've been doing them heavy glute exercises in the desert, and they've got fat booties. That's what I've seen from the Israeli ladies in the army.
But then even then the fact that like there's been like the Israeli government has apparently allegedly been like there's a couple of influencers who said they were like approached by people who were saying that they would pay them to take on the pro-Israel stance. It shows you how dirty the propaganda game really like can be, and that's what has freaked me out in the last couple of weeks, is like not knowing whether what I'm seeing is real or not. And it's hard to get emotional or to even formulate like a sound opinion on anything when you don't even know if what you're seeing is real or if it's heavily skewed. And this gives me the same sort of flashback as when the war in Ukraine first broke out, and like the whole Ghost of Kiev thing happened, and then that turned out to be fake, and then this or when COVID happened and it was bats, and then all of a sudden it wasn't fucking bats. Like I literally have like whiplash.
Yeah.
My brain is fried.
Or it's even down to things like the baby cages at the border.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you hear that at a time when Trump was, like, in power.
Yeah.
And he had this anti-immigration rhetoric
Yeah,
and whatever.
yeah.
And then you go to Snopes, and actually those baby cages were made with Obama or whatever. the fuck.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but the information you got first
Yeah.
was that it was associated with Trump.
Yeah.
And so that's already, even if you've learned that information and that piece of thing is now not, correct, and you change your opinion about what the truth is about something, that's still built into the formulation of your shaping of your opinion of Trump.
Yeah.
So, like, even if it's like not an indirect consequence, is my kind of point around that. Like, it's still going to build around like the phenomenology of you formulating your opinions about something. So that's where like the validation of information, I guess, is kind of impossible at this stage.
And that's
now,
one of the horrors of our times currently.
through like AI and also all of this algorithmic, twisting of the truth, essentially.
Yeah.
Which it would be, I wonder if like there will be like, because that is one thing AI could do, is it could essentially take all of the news from people that are skewing it left, people are skewing it right, and then also then cross-reference it with a bunch of other stuff on the internet, and then generate you a real article. Generate you the real news with like the more factually accurate things that are actually going on, with all of the context that you would be relevant to both of those
But
things.
it's difficult because it's not as
know?
if we're not in an information bubble. I mean, like,
No, but that's
things
the-
like,
it's
think
not-
about it,
it's-
Al Jazeera is banned. Like, there are a bunch of news sources that were banned as soon as the war in Ukraine broke out. And it wouldn't surprise me if even more censorship, like, I'm not even joking. Like, this was another fucking crazy thing I saw. Some pro-Israel woman, I think she's running for president at the moment, said that she would change the definition of anti-Semitism to anti-Zionism and cut funding from schools that didn't like re-educate their students on this or something along those lines. And just crazy shit. People have been saying crazy shit like that. And also the whole meme of like, I don't care if I lose friends over this, but if you don't take X position, you're dead to me.
So,
like,
and it's
what
another-
are people doing?
it's another
And it
one
shows that everyone is an authoritarian for their own side. One of the things that really annoyed me is people who have traditionally taken a pro-free speech position have really pussied out when it came to this specific issue, especially in the so-called dissident, like, you know, right-wing kind of realm, blah, 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 blah. A lot of the free speech fucking absolutists who talked about how fragile fucking college students on fucking college campuses were fucking, you know, ruining the world are now calling for some of the most draconian fucking things. Mm-hmm. You know? Calling for some of the most draconian fucking things in response. And it shows that everyone's just kind of an authoritarian for their own side and for their own fucking team. Like, no one actually cares. The black pill, I guess, that I've gotten from this whole thing is that no one actually gives a shit about, like, you know, fucking rights or freedoms in any meaningful way.
No, they give a shit about their side.
Yeah, and their emotions. People get so fucking emotional and emotionally wrapped up to the point that they can't view anything
And it's
logically.
and in the brainworm they've got with it as well, they deem essentially it's like a mild extremism almost, where if you're not with us, you're against us. And so, like, even if you're someone,
Everyone
like,
has that like Daesh
like,
mentality. Ironically,
if you're kind of like even someone like
Fucking
myself,
hell.
where you're like, oh no, dude, I don't really kind of like follow any of that stuff. It all just kind of seems a bit fucking nonsense to me, to be honest. So I'm not really on a side. Like, even that is deemed as like
traitor.
oh well, you're like, yeah,
is viewed as like fucking like.
silence is violence,
Yeah.
and like all of this kind of stuff. And
I'm
like,
suspicious of anyone who comes at me with that shit.
with a
on
silence
any,
is violence,
on any issue. Anyone who comes at me with a fucking silence is violence.
that's a red flag.
Yeah. Big time. Like, why do you want my soul? Why do you want to crush my ability to think things through? Why do you want me to surrender my logical faculties off the bat simply because you're emotional? I don't like that. I think that's fucking gaslighting. I think that's bullying. And it's happened ever since I started making content and all that stuff. I've had to face this constantly. And it's so ugly. It's like, even if you are really passionate about an issue or something, tell me about it. Let me know your perspective. But have enough grace to let me like fucking think about it and figure out my shit on my own. And if I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to fucking talk about it. Like, it's really, I don't know. It's weird. I don't, and that culture, I don't know. Is it new? Has it always been around in a more subtle form? Like, I feel like it kind of really started to kick off around 2016, which is why I kind of always pinpoint back to that year as like the birth of the zombie fucking virus.
It was the sort of
Or
dawn
was
of
it Coney 2012? Was that the fucking dawn of
I
the
don't think
zombie
so, because
virus?
that was all still quite sort of like fake.
But it was still like a mass syncretized
It was a meme.
move. It was mass syncretized emotion.
It was a meme, but it wasn't like polarizing. It wasn't like if you didn't support Coney, you're a fucking monster.
It kind of was at my school.
That's fucking stupid. That's just kids being fucking
Well, that's the
stupid,
thing is,
dude.
I went
At my
to like
school,
a,
everyone knew it was a fucking joke. So it was
I went
it
to
was
like a
you know what I
stupid
mean?
like Glee high school in fucking Bethesda, Maryland, with all these like posh kids who are like theater fucking nerds.
Nice.
So of course Coney 2012 was like what everyone was doing, and it was like, of course, if you're not part of like, and then also Save Darfur was like huge at my high school. So there's always,
Save Darfur? I
Yeah.
don't even remember that one.
that was huge at my high school. I remember when I was in America, and I don't know, I feel like we've sort of been subtly conditioned for a really long time for these sort of mass syncretized emotion fucking displays. And
There's been a lot of experiments.
yeah,
basically.
I think
Before this,
so.
there's been a lot of experiments
I think
leading up
so.
to kind
I
of
think
moments
so.
like this.
I do think so.
Which
But
is
then
definitely...
in terms of like the angry split in terms of this is like a zero-sum game now. You are now my fucking enemy. And I now hate you. I now view you as the embodiment of evil. I don't think that really came about until 2016.
No, that was like the dawn of the polarization.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think like the more people allow themselves to get suckered into that polarization, the worse it's going to get, basically.
But
So
if the
there
war
needs to be-
intensifies, is what I'm saying, is everything going to be filtered through this culture war lens now? Because even this war is going through that filter. And I'm saying, if the war intensifies, does this mean the culture war in the West is also going to intensify at the same time?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, like, Jesus,
It's all intensifying.
it's like crazy.
This is the point as well, right? I feel like the culture and the speed of which you feel like life is moving, and how, like all of that stuff. It's like this innate feeling that things are getting faster, right?
Things are developing in a way that you are abstract to you. And I mean, think
and
about
uncaring to you,
Yeah.
and moving faster.
Think about how many-
there is this like sensation in this
Yeah.
feeling. The human experience, like in 2020, is
Yeah.
not the same speed in
Yeah.
which you experienced it in 1960.
Exactly. I mean,
or
think about
even
how
1980.
No.
Or even 1990. Like every decade is getting faster and faster and faster and faster.
But even then, think about how many of our systems are behind black boxes. I think some of the first people to get a taste of the pace of modern life were YouTube people, content creators, because they had to deal with this mysterious black box system that was constantly changing and shifting in ways that was unknown to them, and that like had a ginormous effect on their ability to function. And I feel like that sort of precarity, that feeling of algorithmic precarity or whatever, is kind of branched out into the rest of culture now in that sense.
It's almost branched out into the economy in many ways.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of, I don't know, but I think the point I was trying to make about it getting faster is that it's the same as like fucking rent prices, dude. They don't go lower.
Yeah.
Right? So like there's got to be like, you know, how do we there's got to be coping mechanisms for the changing kind of environment. And if it keeps getting faster, like how do people expect, do you just get on with it?
That's kind of what everyone's trying to do, and I think that that's what's going to like
I think there is.
I think that that's what's going to encourage people to get these enhancements, because I think that modern life is going to get so fast paced that you're going to need to be digitally enhanced in order to keep up with it.
Well, it won't. No, that I think it'll be more cyberpunk than that. Where
How much more cyberpunk can you get?
It will
than that?
get you're absolutely right in that it will get faster, and that then there will be like these cybernetic implants or something to help you kind of deal with with the pace of it. But those things aren't going to be like iPhones. That's going to be like something you pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
So that like further segregates.
Yeah, of course.
Essentially, the capability.
Yeah.
Of classes.
Cognitive elite, basically, is what is going to emerge from that. And you're going to be you with your brain fog,
No, they won't even just
and
be,
your
like, richer than
cognitive
you.
like retardation from playing video games.
They won't even
all
be
day
just
long.
richer than you. They'll essentially almost be
You don't
like
stand a chance.
demigods.
Yeah,
Where,
yeah.
they could be like mechanically enhanced and mentally enhanced. So they're just like robot like fucking people that can run faster than you, beat the shit out of you, think faster than you, have all of the knowledge of the world literally like in their brain that's also connected to everybody else's brain and can communicate instantaneously. All of these types of things.
Yeah.
That is literally like a demigod kind of
pretty
like
much.
ability, right?
Pretty much.
And that is literally like what cyberpunk, you know, the game and the world of that is really built around, and the genre of it, I guess, as well.
Yeah, the whole genre.
The actual kind of franchise of cyberpunk, like 2077, all that kind of stuff. That is like really what that world is based around. That's why you should watch fucking Cyberpunk Edge Runners, dude. The anime.
Ew.
It's the next one we got to watch together. I've got to crack you on it. Because you'll really like it. It's like this is like a really central theme to like a lot of that.
It hasn't impressed me yet. The next anime that I want to tackle, that since like Evangelion's the only one that I've liked in a long time, like maybe about 6 years or something. So far, the next one I want to try is Full Metal Alchemist. Lots of people have been telling me to try that for a long time.
Full Metal Alchemist a few years ago.
I was probably like in a pissy mood and I didn't want to like.
We'll give it another go. We did really enjoy a Netflix one together.
Yeah.
A couple of Netflix ones.
Yeah.
Kotaro Lives Alone.
I loved that. That was so sweet.
That was wonderful. I absolutely
that was
adored
really
that.
sweet. I really, it's because I'm reading like Ion for the second time, and also like reading up on a bunch of alchemical stuff because of
Oh my god.
the things that are in Ion. because alchemy has never interested me. I've always been like, what the fuck are all these like symbols? What does like a salamander that's like on fire have to do with with anything serious? But then
The flaming lizard.
yeah, literally. But then you can't read Jung without running into alchemical
It is
shit.
a symbol of the age.
Well, yeah, you can't read
It's just
Jung
like, oh my
without
God.
running into alchemical shit. So like now I'm like, I have to fucking study alchemy now. Like that's on my list of things to do. And then I was like, why don't I watch this cute anime that maybe there are some concepts in it that might look interesting. So yeah, I'm finally gonna give it a chance. And
It's a good
it does.
one.
It
It's a
looks
good one.
cute, and a lot of people like it. So
It's one of the all-time greatest animes, I would say.
really
Yeah,
that
definitely,
good.
Definitely. Full Alchemist Brotherhood, 100% without a doubt, one of the best animes of all time.
Okay, I'm excited. It's a cute thing to watch, like, you know, in between working and stuff. But yeah, moving on to the next topic. Speaking of like digital accelerationism, another big kaiju monster being born out of the primordial digital ooze is the fucking Billboard TikTok merger,
Yeah.
which I think is very much a symptom of the times and the sort of algorithmically led poisoned culture that we're talking about.
Well, I don't know. It's just like, it's weird. I think I think we watched a lady you follow on YouTube for a while that was talking about how they've also released like this scheme on YouTube to license music as well. And so
After giving creators copyright strikes and like destroying their channels for years, like too little too late, YouTube.
after like literally destroying some people's livelihoods,
Yeah.
or potentially even some people that maybe had a bit of a channel that was growing, and then there was that new law implemented or whatever, and so everybody's shit got struck,
Yeah,
and then their
yeah,
channel
yeah.
got ridden off, and they weren't big enough to have made a big stink about it, so that was that, and
Yeah.
now they're not on YouTube anymore.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people like that as well. So I understand like the kind of the ire that people would have around that.
Yeah.
But what those two decisions do say to you is that they are really trying to find every which way possible to sort of like monetize and also kind of win over public opinion. Because I think a lot of people know inherently that like there is a lot of money there is some money being made in the grand scheme of things, like compared to gaming and all sorts of other things. It's fuck all money.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
they're making some money, but the people that are actually writing the music and doing most of any of the fucking work are not the ones getting paid back for it, and that there's no kind of meaningful infrastructure to really support young artists in lots of ways, and
No.
labels don't perform the function that they used to, and all these kinds of things, and that actually TikTok has largely functioned essentially as a global A&R for the last few years anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. But the
And-
thing is, even Spotify could have functioned as a global A&R, but they don't actually sign any artists. They sign Meghan fucking Merkel and like Obama. But Spotify could theoretically sign new artists.
Well,
They could function like a record label if they wanted to.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. I know that there has definitely been some instances where, like, for example, I know Amazon Prime has definitely like sponsored certain studio sessions and extra bonus tracks and things like that for certain artists on an album, so that those tracks are only available on Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. And there was some talk a couple of years ago about kind of more things like that happening. And I think in some like you'd have to be very, you'd have to be a superstar basically for you to get a kind of deal in that kind of realm of stuff with like like an Apple Music or something like that, where you get like 6 months on them or something that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And they pay you some amount of money for them to get the streaming rights for 6 months first. Like, but that's kind of not in the realm of everybody else and like normal fucking people, so it doesn't really fucking matter.
Yeah.
And there was also another thing that like shifted with Spotify recently, where they said they were basically going to shift. This is all going to sum up around a general music industry and what this TikTok thing means. I'm just like painting a picture here. So this all feels very tangential and like, what the fuck are you talking about? This was going everywhere. This week I did also see that Spotify are going to weight their royalties.
What does that mean?
So that means that if you are Beyonce and you get 1 million billion streams, those million billion streams per stream are going to be worth more than someone that gets 1,000 streams.
Why though?
Because they've brought I think the way that they're rationalizing it is that they've brought so much attention and people to the platform that those plays are inherently more valuable than the 1,000 random people that clicked on this local band or whatever the fuck it would have been.
Oh man.
And so, do you know what I mean? And so actually when you're looking at like a cold-hearted, like horrible CEO, like money person's perspective, hey, makes total fucking sense, dude. That makes sense on paper. When you're talking about like a music platform and something that does have like this negative public image and something that needs to kind of look like it is trying to support new and emerging artists and sort of give people a bit of a fair deal. A fair deal being like the main result here. Like not even like all the payouts are terrible money wise. We know all of that. But at least it should be the fucking same for everybody. Like, that's fucking crazy.
No, dude.
In my mind. That is really fucking crazy.
But it's also sucking the soul out of music as well, because people aren't creating soulful music. They're creating music for the TikTok algorithm.
Well, they're creating music in hopes to get noticed in some capacity.
Yeah.
And so to do that, they know that they would need to appeal to whatever the fucking flavor of the day is.
Niches and aesthetics, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Niches and aesthetics. It's quite disturbing. Like some of the bands that I see, like, because there are quite a lot of young musicians trying on TikTok, and some of them are interesting and like cool. Like there's this new drum and bass artist girl who I discovered, London based, who I think's like really cool. But like for every one of her, there's like 10 shoegaze white guys who are like doing the Mac DeMarco thing, and it's like cool, okay, great. Or there's like people who are like really trying hard to like appeal to some kind of niche aesthetic, like goth or punk or this or that, not necessarily because they're passionate about the music, but because they're trying to get fans and attention through, you know, appealing to that demographic in some way.
I know, but then also,
and it makes the music seem really contrived.
But also part of this is this like thing that I briefly mentioned earlier in the episode, which we'll do next episode fully on this, because I think this is an interesting topic. Is this idea of the third place, of somewhere so somewhere to a social where you would go and experience things like local bands. And because there's such a kind of lack of those generally in, and not even just a lack of those actually, but the culture has kind of moved past going to see local bands. People now have such limited time. So the thing that they're going to do to go and see a band, maybe, especially if they're just like your average Joe, not like an avid muso, someone that's really into music. And I think the people that are like that are also fucking on the decline, and that there's not as many.
No, people don't really care about
like
music. It doesn't have their attention.
Music people anymore.
Same thing with film. Film
if
is
you
also
are a passionate music person. Do you know what? I think there's also probably a 90% chance you're also maybe in a band or also trying to be a fucking artist as well.
Or you play some kind of instrument.
So it's like it's a really fucking interesting dynamic where actually most of the audience then end up becoming also people that are aspiring to become and do stuff in the fucking field of whatever. Right?
They're an aspiring something or the other.
There is no longer just like an audience of people like my dad that were just like builders and people that just enjoyed fucking going to fucking stuff or whatever.
Or listen to the radio. Like think about how much of an impact the radio had on discoverability and the curation of what was, you know, popping in the mainstream. Now TikTok does that. Like people learn about what's hot on TikTok, which is precisely why Billboard has made this pragmatic decision to merge and to become part of the Blob. And I mean, I think it means kind of sad things for music. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who are excited and think this is a fascinating development and that we're Luddite idiots.
I'm just going to throw this out there, but I think if this TikTok chart thing had released at like a different time in meme history, Louis Theroux would have been number one for many weeks on the TikTok top 50.
The stupid rap that he went viral. My money don't jiggle jiggle.
Yeah, that would have been number one on the TikTok 50 for at least a month, man.
Yeah.
Louis Theroux.
But that's how people are going to write music for its like kind of instinctual memeability? How much does it
Yeah, but-
appeal to the lizard brain?
But also,
basically?
but I'm just gonna play both sides on this one as well. You can't also totally fucking blame people for that, because unless you're someone that's gonna have a lot of fucking money, or you're gonna have some kind of backing of some kind, then
that's your chance.
That's how you're going
Yeah,
to be
that's
able
how
to
it's your,
get
like,
any
doorway
kind of fucking audience,
into
any
the
kind of
zeitgeist.
shareability with
Yeah.
your fucking music.
That's your
is by
doorway.
making it some way comedic, some way associated with like
Sex.
a cool, sexy thing,
Yeah.
or a kind of association with a really cool aesthetic
Yeah.
of some kind
Yeah.
that people are like really into at the
Yeah.
moment or whatever.
Yeah.
Like those, or some kind of stupid nonsense meme
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how you're going to be able to kind of latch onto something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
using virality essentially
Yeah.
to do your marketing for you. But you know what? None of that's going to be lasting.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
like no, you wouldn't recognize the artist name of anybody that's written any of those TikTok musics.
No, of course not.
I don't even use the platforms. There's even less.
We heard
chance
some of
me
the music,
being able
and
to
we
do
heard
that.
some of the music and some of the artist names on the TikTok billboard thing, and I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. Who
No.
the fuck are these? Who the fuck is
But
this? Like,
even my point, like the reason I brought up the fucking third place thing is that even like you because there's not that a culture of going to see local bands anymore. Like now people save up and they'll go to see the O2, or you'll go and see something at
Coachella
a
or
bigger, or Coachella. You spend fucking money at a festival, and it's all artists and bands that are of a certain level that would play at a venue that stage.
yeah, exactly.
And so part of kind of even like trying to fucking formulate some kind of like really like numbers on the internet basically is so that you can go to a promoter and go, look, numbers.
yeah, yep,
This numbers is bigger than this numbers for seats.
yeah.
In this region even. Look at
But
my
even then,
statistics and stuff.
numbers are so
I
inflated.
can probably fucking
Especially
fill the
in
numbers.
the music industry online, like fucking numbers are deeply inflated. There's been a number of rap artists who have had embarrassingly low turnouts to their shows.
Yeah.
Because even though they have all this like fucking botted clout online, nobody's really checking for them like that IRL. Like no one cares
Does not
enough to
surprise
go
me at
see
all.
a show. Like
There was a guy called. This is probably the last thing I'll end on just before we round off tonight. But if something to Google for after this, check out a guy called Chad Focus and his little story, which make up your mind of how much of it's a story and how much of it's legitimate. But it's interesting. He basically paid a bunch of money to a bunch of fucking Spotify bot farms, and he ended up in the top 10 in the US charts, and then
Wow.
caught the attention of all of the major labels because he basically fucked the system
Wow.
and broke it.
Wow.
And then they also
What
think
a
realized,
genius.
and then he has
What a
this whole
fucking Chad.
he has this whole fucking conspiracy about how major labels are using Spotify bot farms to also engage, like pump numbers on fucking major artists, not even just like people they're trying to break in and like
No,
plants
major
and stuff,
artists,
but like
yeah.
major artists
yeah.
that you think like,
Oh, yeah.
and even this was a story that did get broke actually in 2018 or 2019, I feel
Yeah.
like, for Tidal.
Yeah.
Which is even bigger scandal
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Beyonce and Jay-Z, Deadmau5, like
Yeah.
a bunch of
Yep,
artists
yep,
are
yep.
supposed to like own this platform.
Yep.
And then essentially how their weighted system works, that is, this is the pool of this is the pool of money that Tidal makes in subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
You got this percentage of the total number of plays on Tidal this month.
Yep.
So you get this much
much,
of the total
yeah.
monies of the subscriptions.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Beyonce, an owner of the platform of Tidal, was literally caught red-handed pumping her own fucking numbers on her
Wow.
own fucking platform, which also has the highest royalty per play payout.
Wow.
Which is why she bumped it on her own
On her
fucking
own fucking
platform.
But wouldn't you?
So
Though?
she's
Wouldn't
she's fucking done it and
Wouldn't
like
you?
and literally
That's the
she's
fucking million-dollar
cheated.
question.
She's cheated fucking 3 times. I would count even owning the actual platform that you're doing all of that shit on another level of cheating, an elite level of cheating, which
fucking
counts for 2
gangster
levels.
move. I don't
So
know
I'd
why
say
you're
there's
hating.
5 levels of fucking cheating going on within fucking Beyond. This was the Lemonade album as well.
Oh wow.
This was like everyone, woke fucking genius, Beyonce, Black Queen, she's doing it for the people, she's fucking amazing, she's
the
great.
culture.
And then there was this little Norwegian fucking journalist going, actually, I found some funky things going on with the numbers. And He's like, shut up, Erickson.
You
No one wants to hear it from
racist
you.
piece of shit.
It's just like,
Trying to ruin Beyonce's Lemonade.
it's unbelievable. And so actually, when Chad Focus then comes out and says stuff like this, it doesn't make me immediately go, oh, this is just some guy that's this is his pitch and he's been on podcasts and whatever and making a name for himself in the the black rapper space and whatever. This is like actually like there's something to this story, I think, and he's onto something here.
Yeah.
Because Beyonce was fucking caught red-handed. And I remember that fucking
with her
story.
hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah, her own fucking cookie jar. It's just, oh my god, that story irritated the fuck out of me. But yes, have we got
Yeah,
anything
should we
in
look
the
at some
chat?
interesting comments and see if we?
Oh, here we go. We've got a good. We should have asked you all to put your worst blunt rotation in the chat.
Yeah,
that was a rookie streamer
that
error.
was a rookie streamer error.
I will remember next
Well,
time.
do it now quickly if you can hear us. Do it now quickly.
Do it now quickly if you can hear us.
If you want to tell us what your nightmare blunt rotation is.
Our top boy and moderator Sid, his worst trio would be Nancy Reagan, Tipper Gore, which I'm gonna have to Google that, and Margaret Thatcher, which
Oh my gosh.
that would be a ghastly fucking
Absolutely
blunt rotation.
ghastly. Absolutely. Well, I don't know. Maggie would be interesting to get high, to like loosen up. Because there was this one clip I saw of her where she was talking about makeup. Because obviously she's not that kind of woman, but journalists are assholes. So they asked her, like, what is your beauty routine, mom? And instead of shunning the question, she actually answered it quite elegantly. And it was like, oh, she has like an essence. Like she cares about clothes and like makeup and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I would like get her high and talk to her about that stuff.
He also said lucid dream, blunt rotation, Bjork, David Lynch, and Jodorowsky.
Hell yeah. That'd be amazing.
That's like almost perfect blunt rotation.
Perfect blunt rotation.
I would sub up Bjork because she irritates me.
What? Why would you say such a horrible thing?
I'd probably sub her for another cool lady, but not like Bjork.
So you're so misogynistic. Who's the other cool lady that you would sub her for?
I'm trying to think.
Jake just doesn't have that many women who he rates.
It's not true.
It's the truth.
It's not true.
It's true.
For a perfect blunt rotation, a whammon for a perfect blunt rotation. Fucking what's her name?
You don't even know her name, see?
I do. American Horror Story, Jessica Lange.
Why would you want Jessica Lange in your blunt rotation?
She's like an older Hollywood actress.
Hollywood actress. Yeah, that'd be
Dude,
interesting.
the fucking stories you're gonna get out of like an older Hollywood actress.
The
like
set of King Kong.
I don't say like a Meryl Streep because she's too fucking fancy to fucking smoke a joint with you.
She doesn't seem
Jessica Lange feels like she'd smoke a joint with you.
Yeah. Jessica Lange is like should be the Meryl Streep if culture knew what it was doing.
Okay. Perfect blunt rotation because we didn't do perfect blunt rotations.
Yeah, we didn't do perfect blunt rotation. Oof.
Perfect blunt rotations for me. It's got to be fucking Bruce Campbell. Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
And Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Actually, fuck. Sorry, Jimmy. Fuck Jimmy. I'm
Oh
on the
my
blunt
god, Jimmy gets
rotation.
yeeted out.
Fucking Willie.
He's
It's subbing
Willie Nelson.
Willie for Jimmy. Come
Willie
on.
Nelson.
Willie Nelson, Snoop Dogg. And I'm just such a fucking B-movie fan. I would love to get high with fucking Bruce Campbell. I think that'd be hilarious.
For me, it would be Philemon.
You gotta name people, not beings.
No, beings.
Okay.
You can name beings. Philemon is definitely one of them. Aleister Crowley's lamb. I'm joking. Philemon, Jim Morrison, for sure. I think that would be cool. And probably Jodorowsky. Jodorowsky definitely is on that list. I think that would be amazing. And I think that we would vibe. It would be Aquarius heaven if we got the chance to talk.
Got one from Knack for that. When are we going to see the other side of the Taylor Swift psyop? This is interesting.
I mean, I don't think
If
we
she is
ever
actually
will.
secretly fucking...
I think she's like a Mormon CIA like asset. Like she's a Mormon test tube baby CIA asset, and I
that's
think she's too precious.
That's what the e-girls for the
For-
American military call themselves.
What?
Even on like LinkedIn. It's like, it's like fucking PSYOP specialist operative.
Wow. If
And
you're
then-
getting thirst trapped by PSYOP specialist operative
And she literally makes jokes about it though. She's like, it's like, do you know, they're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
super
online, they're like really plugged into the online kind of lingo and like matrix.
She's even
or
like,
whatever.
she's even being super fucking arrogant and shit about it. She's like, oh my god, I can't believe that the American military's marketing budget is like 21 million or whatever, and some 21-year-old girl's just like fucked them all over with it.
Wow.
It's just like, that's pretty based, but at the same time, don't recruit any more young men to get killed, because that's not based.
I'm sorry, if you're a young man that's thirst trapped into the military, then I mean,
Yeah,
that's
maybe you do
kinda-
have a pretty weak constitution, and
Yeah.
she's doing a favor by getting you out of the gene pool. Like, that's
You're weak. You were hypnotized by like something as simple as boobies.
my dream blunt rotation: Jane George, Gal Costa, Erica Badu, and Basquiat.
Erica Badu would annoy me. I think I love her music. Don't get me wrong. She's a fashion icon.
I'd end up trying to fuck Erica Badu if I got high with her. I feel like.
Of course you would. Jesus. I'd probably end up trying to fuck Jim Morrison as well. So I think you can have a pass on that. What was I saying? Yeah. No, I feel like she would annoy me though with all of her fucking mystical jibber jabber and her shea butter.
You don't like her jive talk?
I think there can only be one mystical bitch in the blunt rotation. I think me and her will just end up vying for dominance.
Too many mystical bitches
Yeah,
in the
too much
blunt
mystical
rotation.
bitches, yeah. It's for the precise reason that Grimes would annoy the shit out of me.
Because she's like a neo-faux mystical bitch.
She tries to be, and then also just like the lisp and everything. Just like no, it would definitely piss me off.
Can't handle it. Can't handle it. I would chill with Kurt Vonnegut, Leonard Cohen, and Alan Watts. Don't know who the first dude is. But I've heard of
Alan Watts would be
obviously Leonard
interesting.
Cohen, the songwriter, I believe, is who you're referencing of Leonard Cohen.
Alan Watts was a drinker though. He wasn't a smoker. Apparently he despite all of his sage wisdom and everything, he was like a raging alcoholic. Like he was a big old
wait.
big old drinking
I'm
guy.
changing my dream blunt rotation. There's two dream blunt rotations. There's a music blunt rotation with Willie and Snoop, and like a media blunt rotation with fucking Bruce Campbell, Willie and Snoop. And there's a fucking old school psychedelic blunt rotation.
Timothy Leary is definitely
Timothy Leary, Robert Anton Wilson,
Yeah.
fucking what's his
Yeah.
name? Aldous Huxley.
Okay.
Bring it on, baby.
Okay.
That would be the best
Philip K.
fucking
Dick.
blunt rotation.
For
Oh
me,
my
Philip
god,
K.
yeah.
Dick,
You can add you could sub Aldous Huxley and Philip K. Dick interchangeably.
Wait, we should do mystics, philosophers, and then
Kurt
artists.
Vonnegut wrote Slaughterhouse 5. Respect that. That's cool. You're also getting a B-movie fanboy meet up in there as well. I respect that.
Amazing. We should do more B movie fan meetups in our
Lamau,
Discord,
Ash
which you
Williams
can
himself.
join.
Hell yeah. See, there we go. Sid got it. Bruce Campbell. Yeah, he's Ash Williams in The Evil Dead. And all sorts of silly roles he's played. Bruce Campbell is an actor worth following. He's done so many fun B movies. But yeah, that is all we got time for, folks.
Yeah.
As Porky Pig
But
would
we'll
say.
catch you again next week. Even though we're your
will,
parasocial
and
friends, we sometimes ghost you.
This-
But we always come back because we love you. Ew. Die quietly.
Dude, it's not ghosting.
You're there like fucking defending smoking and you're like, I'll smoke until my lungs give out.
This has nothing to do with smoking. Okay? There's nothing to do with smoking.
Jake went on
okay?
went to Amsterdam
Yeah, we
and got some
haven't been
mystery.
ghosting motherfuckers. It's like
Rave
I went
disease.
to I was working at ADE all week the week before, which
And now he has like a
early.
mystery rave disease because he's been like.
It's not. It's like
fucking-
I was fine all week, and I was it was good, having a great time. It was quite intense because it's like a fucking conference, then with like a techno festival at the end. So it's quite intense. But I was cool for the whole time. Fell asleep on the plane back. As soon as I woke up, you just felt it in the
Yeah.
back of your throat. It's like, fuck.
And I've been dealing
it.
with him like complaining and being a baby all week. Anymore.
Lol, pick up your shea butter and go home, Erica Badu.
Yeah, pick it up and go home. There can only be one shea butter babe in the blunt rotation. Otherwise, it gets too
buttery.
deep, too buttery.
It gets way too buttery
It gets
up
way
in
too
here.
buttery.
All right, thanks
guys.
everybody.
We
We'll
love
see you
you.
next
We'll
week.
see you next week.